told to go. I guess that means that we're actually left. So we can stop talking about dogs and cats now and actually talk about customer service, right? So let's do that. Hey, everybody, my name is Gene Marks. Hopefully, you guys know me if you were seeing this on any of my social streams. I am here talking with Katie Clark. Katie is the Director of Product Marketing for Talkdesk and also part of the Talkdesk Express team. Correct, Katie? Did I get that
Yes, you
correct?
got that 100% right.
Great. So we're going to talk for the next like 30 minutes about customer service, particularly for small businesses. Okay.
Mhm.
So I write a lot about it. I speak to a lot of clients about it. It's a big issue for businesses and continues to be a growing issue for businesses. Talkdesk is one of a few products that are out there, a really, really good platform that is addressing this issue, like making a platform available that's affordable and easy to use for small businesses now. This is Talkdesk Express, this new product line that you've introduced that will help businesses perform like top level customer services if they were the biggest of the big. So, talk to me a little bit about Talkdesk Express. Explain to everyone watching what that is.
Yeah, happy to. So,
Yeah.
Talkdesk Express was created specifically for small businesses, bringing sort of the best of what big brands and enterprises might use to deliver great customer experience, but in an easy to consume and available box for small businesses who don't have a huge, contact center or customer service team to run like some of those large enterprises do, but it's the same powerful tools, all just in one ready to go box. We've also made it extremely easy to sign up because we understand that small businesses, whether you're an entrepreneur, you own, an accounting firm, or you own a dentist office, whatever it is, you don't have a lot of time to go through, tumultuous contracting. So you can sign up right online. You get 25 licenses for free forever, and $100 credit to start using. There's no contracts. You just put in a credit card, refill a wallet. Very easy, very scalable, especially even as your team grows. And the really cool thing about this is that Talk to Us is not just an omni-channel customer service platform for voice or for SMS or for email. It also includes AI
Mm,
tools so that you have, and I will know we'll talk about that a little
cool.
bit and how important that is. But it's everything's included. So if you want to put a chatbot on your website, or you want to look at mood detecting AI powered insights for your customers and the interactions they're having, that's all included. You don't need to get in touch with somebody from our team to ask for that. It's all right there out of the box, easy to use. And what we're trying to do is lower the barrier to entry to deliver great customer experiences at scale for all these small businesses that don't have a lot of time, don't have a lot of resources, but care probably even more than some of the largest businesses in the world about their customers, and trying to
Right.
put those tools in their hands. So that's a little bit about Talkdesk Express. I don't want to jump ahead to anything I know we're going to
No,
talk
it's fine.
about.
That's fine. It's important. I mean, yeah, the big question, Katie, is why? Like why does a business of any size really need this? I've got 10 employees or 20 employees, and I don't know. I've got an accounting system. Maybe I've got I'm using my Google Sheets, to track my calls, or I'm using Excel. I mean, why have a customer service platform in 2025?
I'm gonna have a lot of thoughts
Yep.
with this. So, one, the customer expectation is higher than ever. So our customers are expecting fast, personalized, 24/7 service from every business, from the largest to the smallest. And for small businesses, every interaction really, really matters. One bad review can stall growth. It can, really hurt word of mouth or loyalty. All of those things are super important. And I know, from talking to small businesses, these folks, you just live and die by the customers that you serve.
Right.
And so service has never really been a nice to have, but now with technology like this, there's a better, faster, easier way to deliver that great service that alleviates you from having to do manual spreadsheets or manual sort of tumultuous, I keep using that word, tumultuous
Hmm.
routing lines. And even if you have a small team, you can still keep everything in one place so you can track all the ways that a customer has interacted with you in the past. You can see what your typical call length looks like. If somebody, is calling in about the same issue multiple times, is that something that you can proactively resolve and improve your business? There's so many ways that technology can alleviate burden for small businesses and help them grow faster, or even just manage the calls that are coming in for the day, being able to route those smartly, or proactively reach out to people with SMS text messages with reminders and
Right.
things. It makes it easier for small businesses. Again, whether you're an entrepreneur with it in the tech world, or you're, again, owning your own, mom and pop shop, whatever it looks like, or you've got franchises, whatever it is. It's just having something that is a unified platform of any kind that can handle your interactions, route them, track them. That's going to help your business move a little bit smoother,
Right.
faster.
So, it's funny because the way customer service is now, it's almost the web and the cloud has changed so much, and people like to digest information and they like to communicate in all sorts of different ways now. I mean, yeah, most people I think are getting their news online, but there's still a fair amount of people that read, paper newspapers every day, which is amazing to
Yeah.
me. But they do, and I
Well,
go to airports. Yeah, and I go to airports, I still see magazines, that are in airports and people reading that. And even though I use a Kindle and I'm a big reader, there's a Barnes and Noble near me where I live, and it's packed. There's people, young people. I mean, it's just not necessarily, like older people sticking with, what they know. It's just people, they want options and choices. So when it
right.
comes to customer service, right? Like some people like to pick up the phone. Some
Yes.
people like to send a text message. Some people like to chat online. Some people like to, you send an email. So that's what this platform does, right? I mean, it will take in requests and issues, however your customers want to communicate with you about an issue or a problem or a question. We
Mhm.
got you covered. You choose the way you want to communicate. Is that a fair summary?
That's a completely fair summary. And the nice thing too is, again, like, whoever is fielding those can see it all from one place. So they don't need to
Yeah.
manage text messages on a phone or phone calls into a phone system. It's all unified. So you're looking at everything from one simple console. So again, if that's you as a business owner or somebody else in your team, we've got a mobile app so people can use it on the go and keep track of all of those touch points. But it's funny you mentioned that about phone calls. There's been a lot of talk about voice phone calls are going to go away, especially with we've got
Baloney.
chats, we've got text. And that's actually, especially with the increase in AI, which I know we're going to talk about too. And
Yep.
AI is extremely powerful, but that voice channel
Yep.
remains an extremely valuable channel to be able to offer your customers an opportunity to talk to you. Now you can use an AI powered virtual agent, or an autopilot as we call it, to handle some of the basic, facts and questions that somebody might have, or resolve a basic issue. Can you update my billing information? Can you update my password? Whatever it is,
Yep.
handle those small things. But then when somebody wants to talk to, I'm sure anybody who's tuning in, I mean, we've all experienced this. When you want to talk to somebody, you want to talk to somebody. And
Yep.
especially if it's a complex issue, you need that human element there. And that, I think, no matter how advanced AI gets, that won't go away. Now, again, AI, as we're talking about, it's very buzzy right now, but it's really important. It can really streamline a lot of your workloads, but it's never, I think, gonna fully replace that human touch, which is why it's so
I
important.
agree.
Again, that I think is a differentiator for small businesses too. They can give that white glove service better than they're so ingrained in their communities, or they know their customers so well. That
Right.
white glove experience is almost like innately part of their DNA.
So we are going to get back to AI because there are certain things I want to ask you
Of
about this for
course.
sure. But as we talk, I mean, obviously AI is going to seep into the conversation anyway because it's such a prevalent thing. But let's talk some use cases, right? I mean, if I'm watching this conversation right now, I think I'm pretty getting it. Yes, customer service is important. Yes, this is seems like a really great platform for customer service that's affordable for me to use and whatever. Like, okay, but let's talk real world, like how this would actually be used. Let me give you a use case to start with, and then I'm going to ask you to provide. Like, let's give our audience some
Happy
some
to.
real life examples. So, one for example, like at True, I just came back this morning from a client of mine that is in like Texas. You can't go any further south in Texas where they are. Like there is a bridge connecting there down to Mexico. And they sell overhead doors. Commercial doors. You go to loading docks and platforms. You have those big doors that roll up and down or whatever. And they
Yeah.
do it, if people in retail stores have them, residences have it for their garage doors, commercial, the whole thing. When there is a problem, the way that they're performing their service now, and they're very public about this, is that the technician comes out. If there's a problem, say the door breaks, or somebody crashed into the door, the customer's calling the technician, or they're texting the technician, or they're just calling the main number of the office. And there's like they don't really have a process. This is what we're working on. You and I are going to talk about this separately, by the way, but they're working on a process where if you had something like Talkdesk, then you say to your customers, listen, any problem whatsoever, text, email, call, because that's super important.
Mhm.
This number, and you have this centralized place where it comes in. Tickets get created. You have a customer service group. It's 2 or 3 people even that they're handling the problems. And
Right.
meanwhile, the technician is focused on being a technician, which is going to the next job and working on the next installation. And if they get a ticket assigned to them, great. Then they go out and they do the repair. But they're having so much unproductivity because their technicians are being dragged away with other problems while they're trying to work at the job at hand. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
No, right.
so that's a use case. That is like where like you have a customer service platform, you have dedicated people that are using it, and then you funnel all of your calls and requests and everything into there. And that way that's what they do. And then you've got everybody else do what they do. And that way everybody can be as productive as possible. So that's
Well, and
my
I
example.
well, and I can, to add on to that
Go
before
ahead.
I'll give you another example in a second,
Yep.
but, for that same technician, when they're on the way, and I'm sure some people who might be tuning in, they might have had a similar experience to this. They're using technology like Talkdesk,
Right.
to really power these things where
Right.
you're getting a text message as a customer saying, like, your technician's on the way, and then you can begin to text with your technician. So you can kind of seamlessly integrate those conversations so that your technician lets you know, I'm 10 minutes away, I'm 5 minutes
That's great.
away, and then the customer's like, hey, okay, yeah, I have this issue, and they can begin to have that personalized, like, white glove on the ground experience. And then again, your point is correct, where there is a kind of central hub where somebody else is maybe fielding those first inquiries that are coming in, letting folks know where they need to go when, so that technician can just focus on the customer that they're talking to at that
Yep.
time.
Yep.
Like, before they get there, after they leave, whatever it is. Something again, whether, and so you've already talked about that kind of unified inbox, that
Mhm.
unified platform where you're seeing everything kind of at once. And the cool thing too is with something like a talk desk, you're able to see a customer 360 where you can see the history of when have they called your business? Well, how many times have they, and that's actually great when you have someone who's fielding those things saying, okay, I see you've had an issue with this 4 or 5 times. And you can give
Yeah.
that information to that technician before they even get there and say, this customer has called in 4 times over the last 6 months. There may be something else going on. And they can get there and sort of say, hey, so I looked into, I see that you've been having some recurring issues. I'm sorry, this is so frustrating. And a customer who just feels seen and has someone who comes in knowledgeable and doesn't have to say, well, I've been having issues for a long time.
Mm.
That's just going to create a better experience for everybody. And also might help that technician get to the issue at hand faster, knowing that it's been a repeat
Yep.
problem. The use case I see, and I'm going to talk a little bit about AI here.
Right. Yeah, of course.
So I talked a little bit about this with FAQs, and I think AI is one of those things where a lot of folks are like, I don't want to deal with an endless chatbot or something, or a web, or on the phone with an automated voice that just sends people in an endless loop and they keep yelling, a
Of course.
representative. Nobody wants that.
Right.
With AI today, particularly like the kind that's embedded into our platform, there's two aspects of that are really powerful. On the voice side, there's AI powered, something we call it a navigator, where someone can speak in plain language about what they need, and you can set them up to route to whoever they need to talk to, whether that's billing, or maybe it's, again, service, maybe it's technical support, whatever it is. But even more than that, if one of those things that they say that the customer is talking about in their natural language, or what are your Labor Day hours? It could be as simple as that.
Sure.
What are your Labor Day hours? AI can understand that they're looking for business hours and then answer that basic FAQ rather than needing to take somebody's time on the phone.
Right.
Even over chat, it's the exact same thing, where they're able to resolve some of those simple FAQs with web autopilots, again, virtual agents, whatever you want to call them. Everyone likes to use a little bit of a different word. Again, for us, it's autopilots, web or voice-based autopilots that can handle a lot of those simple inquiries. There's so
Sure.
many simple inquiries that come into to businesses that can eat up a lot of time from live people. And again, that's not to say that live people aren't important. They are extremely important, especially for the issues that take extra time and care or permissions or whatever it is, clearance to solve that problem. And you need people super hyper focused on delivering great experience live
Sure.
in those scenarios.
Yeah, Katie, first of all, a couple of comments back to you on that. First of all, on the people side, it is such a myth. I'm writing a piece on this for Forbes right now about everybody thinks that like AI is going to be replacing people. Small businesses adopting AI and they're going to get rid of employees. I mean, I have not gone to a single client yet that's not desperate for more people. Whose people are overworked or people aren't
Yeah.
doing things that need to be done because they're busy doing stupid stuff and unproductive stuff. So I mean, okay. I mean, maybe one day, Katie, you and I are like, we're lounging back and smoking cigars and, chilling at, well, I'll be smoking the cigars, I guess. But, when robots are doing everything around us and AI is working, but that day is a long way off. So, we have to do a better job as employers to make sure that our employees know if we're implementing technology like Talkdesk Express and we are going to be using more AI to cut back some time, it's only to make them more productive because we have a lot more stuff we need them to do. So that's point number one, right? Point number two is I also think that there are times when people don't mind talking to a bot, and there are times when people do. And I think that customer service platforms like Talkdesk can be configured. I know they can be where they can answer simple questions. So to take that, but then whoever's calling in knows that at any time I'd like to speak to a human, and they get transferred over to a human. And I think that's what's important. I mean, I don't mind talking to a bot if I'm making a restaurant reservation, for
Yeah.
example, but if I have a question about, something more specific or an event I want to do or whatever, I want to talk to a person, the bot needs to be smart enough to be able to transfer me to that. And that's what Talk This Express does, right?
It's amazing, and I get excited about this and a little bit nerdy, so I'll try and
Okay.
keep it tamped down a bit. But with a lot of people there's so many different types of AI, and when we talk about something called agentic AI, which is
Yeah.
this sort of independent thinking, sounds scary, but it's actually really amazing. Those kinds of agentic AI bots can recognize their own limitation of when they need to transfer you over to somebody. You don't have to
Right.
be the one shouting representative or typing in like, let me please talk to an agent. It knows based on the questions that you're asking it as the customer, all right, that is something I'm not going to be able to accomplish. And I'm going to actually connect you to somebody who can.
Right.
That's the best of what AI can be, is again serving customers through all of those examples, use cases, issues that it can do on its own. And it's pretty amazing. Even from some of the ones I've interacted with, I've been impressed how autonomous they can be. And that really is the future where we're going. They're able to update information. Let's say you have an insurance card or something you need to update. It can update your insurance information. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily need to talk to a person for that. Now, if you want to go later and you need to talk to somebody who's a specialist or whatever it is, and it knows it doesn't have that capability, it's not going. And this is a nice thing also about Talkdesk for folks. And I am curious your thoughts on in 1 second about what small businesses are sort of concerned about from an AI perspective, whether that's
Sure.
cost or complexity. But one of the things we hear and see is the concern on like hallucinations or
Yep.
false information being shared.
Yep.
And when you are using a platform like Talkdesk or other technology that have those guardrails built in to avoid hallucinations or making up information, that's a peace of mind knowing that your agentic AI or virtual bot, whatever it is, stays within the guardrails. So it's not. I mean, there's some funny stories, not funny for businesses, but funny as
Yeah,
a
I understand.
consumer,
Of
where somebody's
wrong responses.
offered a car for $1, and you're like, well,
Right.
that's a great deal. Love to talk to that bot, but for your business, you do not want that to happen. So it's important that those guardrails are built in, which they are for us, and that's an important piece to make sure that they're staying. If they don't know something, they're not going to make it up. Let's escalate it to a real person.
Yep.
But back to my question for you, in all of your conversations with other small businesses, I'm curious what you've kind of seen as what are the things that folks that limit that adoption or that jumping in with 2 feet, whatever it is? Is that cost, complexity, lack of understanding about adopting AI? What do you really think is like, or is it a mix?
So first of all, there's a few things, and a couple of things are not even AI related. I just want you to know. I mean, if most of my clients that I go to, they're like, yeah, we could use a customer service system, but we don't have the time to do it. It is a
I get it.
resource issue. They have to lean because if you're going to implement any system like a Talkdesk Express, it's super easy to set up. I get that. It really is intuitive because I set it up for my own business. But yeah, like anything else, I mean, it takes time. I mean, you have to put some thought into it. I mean, you need to make sure that it's being, customized to what your processes are, or even
Right.
to adopt its processes. So, it's not like you just like snap your fingers and, oh, wow, I've got a, automated customer service platform going. And so my smartest clients recognize that, and then they're hesitant to do it because they've got a million other balls in the air, and they don't realize how important the customer service part is, which I'm going to bring back up later. Okay,
Yeah.
because it's critical about it. So that's definitely number one. You know what I mean? Number two is, yeah, there's a fear of their customer service people, being afraid that, oh, they're putting in this AI system, we're going to be out of a job.
Right.
And I can show those customer service people a half dozen articles that I've written about big companies, and I won't name them, that have implemented with big fanfare all of their great customer service AI software and then walked it back because their customers complained because they don't like you said, talking to a bot all the time. So that's our job, to communicate to our people that they're
Right.
important, and we love them, and this is going to help them have a better life and be more productive. That's the other thing. The other thing is, I'd say that you mentioned reliability and accuracy.
Mhm.
Let's not forget, Katie, that the average age of the U.S. small business owner is over 55 years old. We grew up with Microsoft Windows. We're used to things like sort of not working well until like version 2 or 3. You know what I mean? So, you talk to the average business owner and they hear about AI. People aren't dumb. They know where it's going. But right now, it's almost like,
They're like, "We'll
you
hold on for a sec. We'll let somebody else figure out the bugs, and then
yeah,
we'll jump in."
exactly right. Is it, what
Yeah,
I compare
I
AI
gotcha.
right now, in AI in 2025 is like when you saw people with the big phones back in the early 90s walking around. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that to me is AI. You know what I mean? So there's some hesitation for that. And then finally there's security, I
Yeah.
mean, and so I'll ask let me ask you that. I don't want to go too off script with you, but talk to me a little bit, like, we're going to be using Talkdesk Express. It's a cloud-based application. We're sharing our business information, with you guys. I have a lot of clients that are concerned about cloud-based applications in general, and particularly AI platforms, that
Yeah.
how secure is our data and how private is our data. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I mean, I understand completely why it's such a big concern. I mean, again,
Mm,
your customers' data, your company's data has the backbone of trust between you
yep.
and your customers. You have some breach or some other sort of issue where information is exposed unintentionally, that just it erodes the trust in the relationship you have with your customer. So it's number one, a completely valid concern. And
Right.
that is something we have a whole team within Talkdesk who is just on the trust and security, compliance, guardrails, what have you. Talkdesk has over 30 certifications, attestations across a variety of different things, whether it's if you're in Europe, GDPR. In the United States, there's a variety, even by the state level,
Yep.
from a privacy and compliance perspective. A lot of that has to do with how we handle data. And even if an AI agent or a bot or whatever you want to call it is interacting with that data, that doesn't change the responsibility that we have to make sure it stays secure, especially even things like PCI compliance. If you're sharing credit card information, that needs to stay hidden and not stored. I will say, from a Talkdesk perspective, the customer data that we interact with gets stored and saved within Talkdesk. It doesn't go outside. It's not floating around in the cloud.
Good.
And we have a number of those, attestations that validate that the way that we treat data, whether it's stored or it's sort of like in motion, it's being used in an interaction, is always staying safe within the platform. It's not being shared externally. Now, if we are integrating to another system, Talkdesk Express works with HubSpot, works with Salesforce, that data can be shared, but again, securely over an encrypted path. So nothing is being exposed. And that's, I completely understand why that's a major question. And again, that's
Yep.
just from a data perspective. The guardrails that are built in from an AI perspective are helping eliminate the hallucinations or bias that a lot of folks have been talking about with AI.
Sure.
And that's really important, just to make sure that you've got those, it's one of those things, almost like a firewall, kind of like it's
Sure.
on, and you don't have to worry about it. But that is, I completely understand why that's a big question
Why
from.
do I feel like you've gotten this question before?
Well, I told you, like
Yeah.
everybody is very keen on
Sure.
making sure that if they're going to put, to your point, an AI in their systems, they don't want to be exposing themselves or the company or their customers' data. So or and even again, putting a customer through a really terrible experience. So I understand why it's a really big question. I know I'm mindful of time, and obviously it's just flown by, but I have
Yeah. It
another
has.
thought just really fast on the adoption piece for folks
Yep.
that are thinking about AI or a technology platform. You're like, this is just too much. Everything is, it's crawl, walk, run. If you're not using anything today, you can just start with, something that unifies your channels. And that can be for calls, SMS, chat, email. Start small. Then
Yeah.
maybe you put in a
Right.
basic, AI chatbot on your website. And that's just to handle your, you can have that. So we have an offering we love called after hours. After your business closes down, that AI chatbot is on all the time, answering basic questions so people can, still interact with your business, even if you don't have somebody online. And then going,
By the way, I just to interrupt you,
yeah,
I did want to get some takeaways, like with like some actual action steps. And so I just want for all you guys that are watching this, I mean, that is a great takeaway to start with, Katie. I mean, it's people get what's the word for it? Overwhelmed, like,
overwhelmed.
oh my God, I'm gonna have
Oh
to
yeah.
replace all my or whatever. Just whenever you have a big problem, you break it down into smaller problems. I've just learned that from people smarter than me, and then you attack it. And you're 100% right. Start small. Start small with customer service, right?
I couldn't agree. It's just, if you focus on one thing at a time, you can
Yep.
just focus on delivering fast and consistent communication by streamlining everything into one platform, making it a little bit easier to move out of those spreadsheets or out of just your phone book into one place. And having a simple tool to do that where everything lives, where you're not having to bolt on extra things, does make
Yep.
that much easier. But it's
Yep.
all about, you don't have to eat the whale at once. Just
Yep.
little bites, and then be amazed what it looks like after a
Pick
year that
one
you've got.
one one use, one problem, and solve that problem with the application. And then as you get better, you start solving more problems with it. Here, I've got a takeaway for our audience as well. Just again, stuff that I've learned over the past 20, some years. My smartest clients, they run towards, not away, problems. Like
Mhm.
they gravitate towards customer services. They want to know what their issues are. Like, show me a report. We didn't talk about metrics and reports,
I
but
know.
and we will in the future. But like one report that's super popular among my best clients is I need to know a list of my open tickets, my open issues by priority, what's been open the longest by customer. And I have clients like owners of businesses that read that list at
Yeah,
least once a week, if not more. And the reason why is twofold. One is obviously they want to make sure their customers are getting their problems solved, because not good if not. But number two is they recognize that it's an opportunity. When customers have problems, there's an opportunity to not only shine, but there's an also opportunity to potentially sell them other stuff or provide additional services to solve that
right.
problem. And you don't know that unless you've got a system like Talkdesk Express or a customer service system like that, right?
Right, and I mean, that's the other, and I'll just quickly say this, but that's the other aspect of AI. Well, there's a whole part of AI that can help assist even human
Sure.
service agents deliver better service. But from a report and insight perspective, I think you're 100% right. Look at where your hotspots are, and you
Yeah.
can use AI. And it used to be just sentiment analysis. Now there's mood detectors, there's things that say, hey, we're noticing that when people are calling about this issue, they always leave frustrated. So even if they're calling in with somebody, they're not getting their issue solved. So I think you might have a problem, even in your training or even in your, whatever aspect it is, across your business, that this issue or people keep calling about this and they're always mad when they call.
Yep.
Oh gosh, okay, let's try and fix that. And you can use it as a guide for your business to, hey, we need to address this, we'll address this. And then, you might see your Google reviews improve. You might
Yep.
see, a number of things that correlate to those experiences that folks have with your business.
All right, before I let you go, and I know we've just about ran out of time, but I gotta give you just the platform for just 2 minutes, okay? I just only because you've been in this world for a long time, and I want you to have the final word. Where's this all going, Katie? What do you think Talkdesk Express will look like 3, 4, 5 years from now? Which is a hard question considering how fast things are moving. But I'm just curious to see where you think it's going.
Where we think it's going? Well, I can certainly answer, in the next 1 to 2 years. I don't
Fair
think
enough.
but then I'll give you my 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Mm,
3 or 4 or 5 years, considering how fast we are moving, my goodness, it could be. I think to your what we talked about before, those traditional channels aren't necessarily going to change, but AI
mm,
is gonna become table stakes, not a luxury,
mm.
and what that doesn't mean is that it replaces every human agent that you have. If it's able to give you productivity gains to open folks up to focus on other things, or even, change up how they support customers or support the business, that might be a reality. But AI infused across your website, across your phone channels, across other channels that you have is going to become table stakes. And I am with you that as more businesses adopt it, everybody is going to continue to see the ways it goes really well, the ways it doesn't go well, and I think it's just going to continue to be a flywheel of sort of adoption, and it's going to become, and us as consumers are going to be used to it and being like expecting it basically. With that though, I think customers are going to continue to expect 24/7 availability,
Yep.
even from small businesses. I think that that's something that we see today already, but I don't think that's going to change. And then I think from a technology perspective, simplicity is what's going to win. Not just small businesses, but everybody needs tools that just work and are easy to use and easy to set up and easy to change, because how quickly everything is changing right now in the market, not
Yep.
even just this market, but out in the external markets, no matter the industry you're in, you need a tool that's able to adjust and make changes very quickly. You don't want something that's so cumbersome that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is going to take me 2 weeks and I'm going to have to go through and figure it all out. You need something that's drag and drop, very easy to access. And I think those are really, really important to prioritize also as you're looking at potential technology. And so that's where I
Good.
think we're going. And I don't think that's
Okay.
necessarily going to change.
Nope. Nope. I think it's actually as simple as it will just get more reliable and
Yeah.
smarter. And I think a lot of the AI processes are going to be running just behind the scenes. And just like we all got dragged kicking and screaming to the cloud, and now everybody's in the cloud, and all of our payrolls in the cloud, and all of our systems are there as well. Just like we no longer have the big phones, we have now the small phones. And just like even like the planes that we ride in and the cars that we drive in self-adjust, on
Yes.
mileage, on mechanics, just it just does it. I think AI will just do that behind the scenes, a lot of processes. And I think our people will be a lot more happier because of that. Katie, thank you. You're fantastic. Before I let you go, Katie Clark is the Director of Product Marketing at Talkdesk. Talk to us a little bit again about Talkdesk Express. Where do
Yes.
people go to get more information, and talk a little bit about what they need to know about it?
Perfect. Yeah, happy to. So, Talkdesk Express is our new offering for small businesses, specifically in the United States and Canada. If you've got 50 employees or less, you can sign up right away online, talkdesk.com/express/sign up. Hoping that we drop a link in, and we'll
Yep,
add that to this.
we'll try to. We'll put it in the notes.
Great.
Okay.
Folks can sign up you just with a business email. That's all it takes to sign up and get started, and your system would be ready to use in about a minute. It gets set up right there for you. Again, you don't need to go through a sales team, don't need to go through contracts, don't need to talk to somebody. You can just sign up directly online and start using it. You get 25 licenses for free forever.
Wow.
They're
Wow.
always, all the users you want to add up to 25. And you also get $100 in credits that you can start using, whether that's used for calls, text, start messing around with AI on your own. And that's all completely within the same platform. So, really, why we did this was to make it easier to put powerful, solutions like omni-channel support and AI in the hands of small businesses to, compete with the big brands. This is the same technology, the same powerful stuff that our enterprise clients are using, but just in a package that's easy to use and streamlined for for small businesses, but you're not compromising on the quality of the solution. It's just making it easier to access for small businesses who want to deliver the same modern experience that customers expect today.
Love it.
And that's what
So
I got.
guys, listen, in the past 35 minutes, we have talked about why customer service is so important. We've talked about use cases, how you can use a good customer service system. We've talked about some takeaways and advice for you as well for, deploying a good customer service system. We talked about how AI is going to affect customer service, all of that stuff. And of course, all built around Talkdesk Express because it really is a top line customer service platform and it's built specifically for small businesses. That's a lot of great information completely for free. There's been no advertisements in this other than, well, Talkdesk Express, and we've had a good time doing it. And I really hope that for all of you guys who have been watching this, you get some good information about it. Think about it. Every business needs a customer service platform. It is just what you need to be doing in 2025. It's what your customers expect from you as well. And it's also, I've just learned, the best way to manage your business is to make sure that you're aware of the problems and understand how they're getting resolved. Katie, thank you very much. It was awesome talking with you. We will be hopefully talking again in the future. Okay.
Yes, fabulous. Thank you so much, Jean, and thank you everybody for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.